less digital devices out there.
Well,
but yes, it's
and
just because you've got to.
I'll say that another thing is that whenever we're worried about whether our laptops will be able to travel with them. I mean, I have one of these little babies that just, goes with it pairs up with my phone. And so my phone really does, it becomes a thing where, I've got to keep up with it so that, you never can tell what we're going to be able to take with us or not.
I still like my little Levenger 3x5 card. I mean, just because this is always here, I've got lots of colored pens in my bag, which travels everywhere with me, and so on. But that's me. And there is some research that actually, if you handwrite notes, you will remember more, recall more than if you type them. There's some research, academic research on that. So there is, I certainly respect people who write everything on their laptop or their phone or whatever, and I think that's great. The crucial thing is doing that, because when you're doing that, your brain is engaged rather than just sitting there hearing something and think, oh, remember that, and 2 hours later it's gone, Yeah. Kathy, it is all about engagement. I think that's right. And someone wants to know
the brand of the brand of the keyboard. I just looked, and it doesn't have a brand on it, so that would mean that it was cheap. I don't know. It works well, though. It works really well. And so you can type right into your phone. I think that with a lot of the travel, we get more and more travel bans and just weird things going through the airport. So it's handy to be able to do that and have something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, Joan puts, nice comments about, again, capturing stuff that's going on. I was actually really kind of honored by the fact that this conference I was at 2 weeks ago, someone from the staff, from the venue, came up to me and said, I just wanted to let you know that I'm hearing people, attendees talking about, how you're doing stuff here, and they're really excited about it. And, so that kind of feedback is priceless stuff. And I don't usually get it from someone, who was working at the venue, but I was really touched to get that kind of information, but also capturing it, as Joan points out, having public places where Post-it notes can go up, large sticky notes can go up with impromptu things, and having the meeting organizers point out that as a place where there can be some kind of impromptu conversations or connections and so on. And of course, the digital equivalents, though I don't see them actually getting used.
So there's a request for you to go back, please, to the largest conference at which you would think that what you recommend would be effective. And I think that that's a really good question, because some of these, huge conferences that are it's hard to imagine how something like that would scale.
Well, there are some things that can work. I mean, I've done the personal introspective. Let's see, the last two sessions at my conferences that I mentioned, the personal introspective and the group perspective, I've done those with hundreds and hundreds of people, with 1,000 people. Those scale. Those things scale. There's something else I do called the solution room, which is a way for people to get confidential small group consulting on a current challenge, and that scales. I've done that with 1,000 people, no problem. The evaluation piece, you can do the reminder, the letter to myself. You can do that with any number of people. It takes the same amount of time. Everyone's writing a letter to themselves. I mean, there's more work in collecting those letters and then mailing them out afterwards, but that will scale as well. And again, the phone conversations, obviously you're not going to, if you have a few thousand people, you can take a sample, and a statistician can tell you how many people you need to interview on the phone to get a valid response, if that's what you want. Though, again, I would argue that even if you can't talk to that many people, even talking to maybe half of them will give you some really great feedback and also make a great impression on the folks you talk to.
So
I'm just noticing Kathy asked a question about, would you address the bad feedback at the conference or use it for next year? And I'd love to answer that.
Let's go for it. We have just a little bit more time, and I think that would be a great one to hit.
I think that's good. First of all, I wouldn't call it bad feedback. When I do the evaluation, it's a standard technique you can look up called plus delta. And so delta is about change. So I always emphasize, I say, this is not something that's bad that happened at this event. It's something you would change to make it better. And the interesting thing, I've done plus delta for many years now at conferences, and the deltas are actually in some ways the most interesting part, because they do bring up stuff that sometimes is contentious. Sometimes people say, no, I thought that was great. But sometimes the deltas bring up things that people can do. So a delta is like, we didn't talk about this year, or we wanted to talk about this, but there was no one who knew about anything about it. Okay, so easy thing to do. You say, okay, conference organizers, let's get someone next year to talk about it, and so on. So sometimes you can address the changes at the event, and sometimes you shouldn't. Sometimes people make statements that they see as things should be changed, and they are maybe in a minority, or it's not practical to make those changes, and so on. You don't necessarily need to address them. So I would be wary about making commitments unless something is very, very clear. Mm-hmm. I mean, if 20% of the audience say we really should be doing this, then you probably should take that seriously, and someone from the meeting owners should basically say we will look at that very seriously next year. But I wouldn't promise anything based on a public evaluation unless it's very, very clearly it's trivial or something that has tremendous interest.
So today we've been talking about the meeting industry's biggest dirty secret, or dirty little secret, depending on where you saw the promotion. And and Adrian, this has been incredible. Where can people reach you for more information?
My website, where everything about me and a lot of stuff that I've written about is Conferences That Work. Well, one phrase, conferencesthatwork.com.
Okay. Conferencesthatwork.com. And I'm going to try to go ahead and put that over here just in case anybody needs it.
And if you actually do a search on evaluation, just that keyword evaluation there, you'll see about 8 or 9 posts that cover, including things we talked about today, that cover including things that we haven't talked about how to get good evaluation rates, why short-term evaluations are unreliable, and so on. I think
Adrian's been wonderful because he sent me a list of links that should help people. Will provide additional resources to some of these different posts. So if you are interested in finding out more at the end of the week, but this week or this previous week, I got out even earlier, but by Friday, I will have the audio podcast version of this episode up on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. And in the show notes, I will have a list of the links. I will also post them over on assnchat.com, and you can get more information or watch a replay of this episode there. So thank you for joining us today on Association Chat. You can always catch each week's live episode as an audio podcast on Fridays. And until next time, everyone, keep asking questions to learn every day. As Joseph Campbell once said, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Adrian. I really appreciate it. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Association Chat. If you like our show and want to know more, check out associationchat.com, or please leave us a review on iTunes. It would mean so much. You can share your thoughts with us in the comments, tweet us, or tell us online with the hashtag assnchat, the hashtag we all know and love with a wink and a smile. And we hope to see you next time.